Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Getting ready to record this week's Mike in the Midwest for our patrons. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate you so much. You're helping us keep the show rolling here during these times where travel has slowed down just a teensy weensy bit. Thank you for being here, and I hope you're enjoying this little. This is, again, if you're watching on the Patreon page, this is the unedited raw feed of the show. I think I have a good one for you. Actually, I had another show ready to go for today, and I'm pushing it back to next week because I had a bright idea at the very last minute. So we're going to get a show that came to me not 10 minutes ago. I made the notes. This one could be really interesting for a lot of folks, or it could not be. I don't know. The next shows for the rest of the month, every Thursday, are going to be Halloween related. So we'll have that here soon, but hopefully you enjoy today's show. Also, a little feedback on I'll talk about this on the main show. So let's get to recording. Hope you're doing well. Let's talk snacks. The squeaky chair. Squeak, squeak, squeak. All right, let's do this. Welcome to episode number 16 of Mike in the Midwest, a mini podcast for the patrons of the Be Our Guest podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from the Be Our Guest podcast, and so glad to have all of our patrons here. Thank you, as always, for your support of the show. I could not do this without you right now. You're kind of helping us bridge that gap until things get back to normal with the Disney destinations. They're creeping their way that way, and we'll make it, but I sure appreciate each and every one of you helping us out. I promise to always get those shows out there at least 4 times a week: Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We get together on Sunday nights and talk live, so please do make it a point this Sunday night. Give us a call. I love hearing from our patrons. Let me know you're a patron, and just remind me of that. I just love getting to recognize you, so give us a call. This will be Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. We talk about whatever is on your mind when it comes to Disney destinations. We chat live during the show, and we have a great time. It's kind of our time each week to get together, and I'd sure love it if you would join us for that this Sunday. Also, please, as we're getting the show rolling here today, join us over on the Discord server. There's a private Discord server just for our patrons. It's where I check first thing every day, and I love the comments over there. We have lots of pictures, memes, discussions about, upcoming trips, about what new news and announcements mean to us as Disney fans. Get in on the conversation, that private Discord server just for our patrons. We have a great time. So just go to the Patreon page, patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. Click on the link and you'll be over there. It's just a little chat room. I know it sounds confusing. It's a 24/7 chat room, and it's a lot of fun. So come on over. Now, last week, if you remember, on Mike in the Midwest, we had a salute to cast members. And I think this is needed more than ever with the news of the past couple of weeks. Some beloved entertainers, groups have been let go from Walt Disney World. The Polynesian performers, Yeehaw Bob, the Grand Floridian Society Orchestra, lots of others. And not only that, but just the cast members that are folks that we don't know by name necessarily, the folks who clean our rooms, or the folks who serve us food in the resorts, in the theme parks, or the folks who work in transportation to get us here and there safely. We're thinking of each and every one of you, and I hope you enjoyed last week's show. But one of the things I want to do moving forward, and we've kind of always done this on the show, is to really make sure that we salute and point out how much a cast member means to us for our Disney vacations. So I'm going to make that a point to do that on every show if possible. Obviously it won't be every show probably because of how many shows we put out, but I'm going to put it in my mind to make sure when I get an opportunity to recognize a cast member who has done something special for us to make our trips better, I'm going to point that out on the show. So I hope you'll notice that. And I hope you'll also share those stories with me. You can, send those to Mike@BeOurGuestPodcast.com, and I'll share those on the show. We could throw those in on listener questions on Wednesdays. Just, little cast member stories. Give me the cast member. Doesn't have to even be a name. The cast member that worked in, the Muppet store at the studios. And this is what happened. This is an interaction that we had that still sticks with me. Let me know. We'll throw those in because I think now more than ever, we need to let the cast members know that they're loved, they're appreciated, and we're going to help them any way we can. All right. Well, hey, let's get to today's show, right? We're going to jump on this one. and I hope you're not hungry. So I don't know when you listen to Mike in the Midwest. This one comes out at a very different time than the rest of the shows. The other shows all come out the night before. They're supposed to be the show of the day. So Tuesday nights for Wednesdays, Thursday nights for Fridays, and so forth. This one drops as soon as I finish it for our patrons, Thursday around lunchtime. But today we're talking snacks that take you back. So I hope you're not hungry. And let me give you the genesis of this show, how I came up with the idea for this show. Like I said, I had another show prepared for us, kind of Halloween related. I'm pushing that back to next Thursday. The reason I thought of this snack is because I had got my work, this morning, and to take a little break mid-morning. It's beautiful here in the Midwest in St. Louis. It's about 68 and sunny today. Walked a few laps around the lake, came back in, got me a Coke Zero. It's kind of needed a little snack out of the pantry. And what did I reach in to get as a snack? Goldfish Crackers. And that gave me the idea for today's show. Every time I eat Goldfish Crackers, I have a memory associated with that. Now, today I'm going to go through a list of about 10 to 12 items that they're not just snacks. And some of these things you cannot get anymore. Some of these things you have to work really hard to get, but you can still get them. But every one of these snacks isn't just something that is, most of these things are useless calories that taste really good, but they also associate, for me, some place or some time or even a person from my past that when I have this snack, I'm almost right back in that situation. Now, the reason I'm doing this show is because I want your feedback either over on Discord or in the comments below on the video or the audio feed here on Patreon. Let me know what snacks you have that have a specific location or person or time that take you back. When you get that snack, you're instantly, boom, I'm back there. All right, so let me go through my list. I mentioned the Goldfish Crackers. I'm talking the cheesy Goldfish Crackers, little crackers that come in almost like in a little bag. You can still get these everywhere. Target, Walmart. They're plentiful. Now, back in the day, they just had Goldfish Crackers. Now they have like 38 different varieties, pizza ones, rainbow ones, super cheesy. I like the super cheesy. I don't know if you have this memory, but if you grew up at church like I did, a Goldfish Cracker it's like a path to heaven, right? Because Goldfish Crackers were always served as your snack. It's Sunday school class and vacation Bible school. No kidding. All the time. And you think about it, though, it's smart, right? Goldfish Crackers, they taste good. The fish are kind of mentioned in the Bible a lot. Jesus turned, a couple of fish into to feed the thousands. I mean, it's kind of biblical, I guess, probably with Goldfish Crackers. And they're also not too messy, so they're practical. And I think all kids like Goldfish Crackers. I don't know a kid that doesn't like Goldfish Crackers. So every time I eat a Goldfish Cracker, I feel like I'm a little closer to heaven, and they taste so good. And they take me right back to Sunday school in Ferguson, Missouri. All right, next on my list, let's get away from that and go to the next one, Doritos, right? You can get Doritos now. The cool thing is that at least at our store, Deerberg's and Schnucks, our grocery stores here where we live, you can get the 2020 variety of Doritos. And there's a lot of different varieties of Doritos, but you can get the regular Doritos. They're in kind of a red bag. I don't know if you have this at your store, but you can also get like throwback Doritos that almost look like taco chips or something. They're that 70s looking bag that I remember from being a kid. And the thing I remember about Doritos is, you pull out the bag of Doritos. Of course, as soon as you eat Doritos, you get the orange hands, right? The orange fingers. But the reason the place I go when I think of Doritos, if I eat those, is Friday night at the house I grew up at, like when I was young, pre-middle school. So the St. Daniel house, the small house that we started out in. And it was playing Friday nights playing arcade or Atari games. So we'd pull out the Doritos. My buddy Ryan would come over from across the street. We'd destroy the bag of Doritos. We'd play some Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Combat, what have you on the Atari 2600. Those joysticks would be half black, half orange. They were a mess. But God, that was living. When you were 6 or 7, you'd watch those Friday night TV shows, Dukes of Hazzard or, Knight Rider or Airwolf, whatever you had. And just Doritos were kind of always the staple stack at or like chip in our house. So yeah, anytime I see Doritos, boom, it's a Friday night playing Atari. All right, next. I don't know if you had these. Maybe you don't know what I'm talking about here. We're going into the sweet. One of the things that I think you can still get, but I'm not 100% positive, they were called zingers. Okay, so zingers were little cakes, probably about, I would say maybe 3 to 4 inches long. They had icing on the top and cake, and they had the cream filling. And these things, they were kind of like ding dongs, but they were more like rectangular prisms. But they were so, so good. And the reason I remember these is that my great grandparents, and I was very lucky, I had my great grandparents around until I was in middle school. They lived right across the river in Illinois in a town called Alton, which is a very old town, which will come into one of my stories here later in this month. Scary. It's one of the most haunted places, they say, in the United States. But anyway, zingers were what my great grandparents always had at their house. They always had zingers. So whenever you hung out over there, you went over for a visit, there were always zingers. And I remember this because we would go with my great grandpa to what was called the Dolly Madison Bakery in Godfrey, Illinois, which was another town near where they lived. And we always play baseball one time a year at the Godfrey baseball tournament. And so the Dolly Madison Bakery was right outside the ball fields. And so it was always a great treat to go over and get zingers. I mean, it was just like when you're a kid, you always want something sweet, right? Like a cake or, like a ding dong or something. But zingers were where they were. And I didn't really have them anywhere except my great grandparents' house. So that's why I think I always associate zingers with my great grandparents over in Alton. And they had different varieties: chocolate, vanilla. I think they even had like a pink or a red one, like a strawberry or something. But blue, the chocolate and the vanilla zingers don't have to do anything else. They were awesome. They always reminded me of my great grandparents over in Alton. All right, next, another sweet treat. See if you remember this one. Do you remember Chocodiles? Okay, Chocodiles were the bomb. They were awesome. I don't think you can get these anymore. What they are, if you don't know, they were like a Twinkie that was covered in chocolate. And they had this like little Twinkie guy, but he kind of looked like a crocodile on the covers. My mom would put these in my lunchbox in elementary school every day. Now, it's a wonder I wasn't a bajillion pounds when I was a kid because of this kind of stuff. We all had this kind of stuff in our lunches. I know, like when I when I kind of wrapped up teaching, like the kids at school, they couldn't eat like X, Y, and Z. Like if it was anything tasty, no, they have to eat like lettuce and stuff. Like they were so strict on what kids could eat, what they could bring to the parties even. When we were kids, it was a free-for-all, man. Chocodiles and Pringles and all kinds of stuff. So Chocodiles was what I had every day in my, whether it was like an ET lunchbox. I always brought my lunch. I didn't like the lunches at our Christian school. So it was Chocodiles were like a staple. And I've heard you can get them on eBay from another country, like a box of them, but they're like $50. I'm not paying that. But yeah, Chocodiles, I don't know why they wouldn't bring these back. I mean, Twinkies are awesome. But then you coat a Twinkie in chocolate. I mean, what's not to like there? And that takes me back to elementary school, sitting at the table. You eat your sandwich, you eat your chips, and then, oh yeah, it's time for dessert. The Chocodile comes out. And then, of course, you had chocolate all over your hands. All right, next. This really isn't a snack, but it's a condiment that I only have an association with at my grandma Mason's, which was my mom's mom, not the grandma I've talked about on other shows. This was my mom's mom. They lived around the block from us, actually, growing up. And so I would go over there and hang out. We'd have lunch sometimes with my grandma and grandpa over there, my mom's parents. And they would, if it was lunchtime, we'd have sandwiches, right? And so we'd have like, ham or cheese or whatever. But there was one thing they always put on their sandwiches, which was so good. And I haven't had this in years, but they do still sell it. I saw it at the grocery store. I just didn't buy it because I don't need it. It was called sandwich spread, right? Now, if you don't know what sandwich spread is, it's kind of like, how do I describe this? It's kind of like a mayonnaise that you would spread on the bread, but it's kind of the color of pimento cheese. It's kind of like an orangish color. And it's got like, I don't know, like little chunks of pickles and maybe pimentos or tomatoes in it. It is super good, but it is probably super fattening. It's still available. I haven't had it in years and years, but that was the thing. You didn't have mustard or mayonnaise or anything on your sandwich at my grandma Mason's house. You had sandwich spread, and you can still get that at your grocery store. So Give it a shot. Let me know in the comments what you think if you've never had it, or if you've had it. Just again, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on these snacks. These are just the ones I came up with off the top of my head, but I know everybody's got their snacks that take you back. All right, next. How about RC Cola, right? Okay, so we didn't have, growing up, only the rich kids drank Pepsi and Coke, right? We didn't have Pepsi and Coke. My dad was an RC Cola guy. So we had those blue cans with the RC. You know, it was like, you wouldn't say, go get me a soda. You'd say, go get me an RC. But even after that, now this is just a St. Louis thing, I think. We really, for our cola, we had Vest Cola, which is, I think, only a St. Louis kind of thing. But Vest Cola was the cheapest soda that you could buy at the grocery store. It wasn't even in boxes. You would buy it by the can. It like 10 cents a can or even cheaper than that. And what you would do is you would get a box, like a 24 container. You know, it's just basically the bottom of a cardboard box. And they had different varieties. They had so many. They had, and they would, you know, they ripped off the names of like Dr. Pepper. It'd be like Dr. Fizz. And, you know, they would have like a cherry Coke, but it would have some crazy name. They had cream soda, black cherry soda. They had they had an orange soda. So what you would do, it was real exciting when you went to the grocery store to get your Vest soda. Now, it didn't taste as good as the other, you know, Pepsi and Coke, but it was okay. I mean, it's what you drank when you were a kid. You didn't get to pick. You didn't buy the groceries. So what you did was you would take this box and you would fill it up with all the different flavors. You get 24 sodas, you know, put them in the box. Was that $2.50 for dirt cheap soda? And it didn't taste great. But if you were from St. Louis, you knew Vest soda, because most of us didn't drink the expensive stuff. We weren't the rich kids drinking Pepsi and Coke. We were drinking RC and Vest. All right, the next thing I'm going to remind you of that was a snack that takes me back. It's the blue box Kraft macaroni and cheese. Now, the place this takes me back, could take me back a lot of places, but the strongest memory I have of this was when I went to what was called mini school at St. Mark's Church by my old house when I was a little kid. This was preschool. This was before kindergarten. My mom was working, so she had to take me to, they called it mini school, but it was preschool looking back in a church. It was run by a church. And the thing was, of course, I was there for lunch. I just remember we had Kraft macaroni and cheese at home all the time. But when we had it at this mini school, it was the driest mac and cheese ever. I don't think they put butter or milk in it. I just remember I complained to my mom so many times, like, Mom, the mac and cheese is so gross. It's just so dry. You know, what it could have been is they probably made it for like 50 kids, right? And it's hard to get the ratios right with the ingredients. But I just remember to this day, I am 46. God, I'm choking on the dry mac and cheese right now just thinking about it. Yes, the dry mac and cheese from mini school. All right, next, let's get to something even more pleasant here. How about this? Otis Spunkmeyer cookies. Now, if you don't know what Otis Spunkmeyer cookies are, you're missing out, A. B, these things were always fresh. And the place this takes me back is to the skating rink that I worked at, Spinning Wheels. So this was like our hot item we could sell at the snack bar, Otis Spunkmeyer cookies. The reason these were so good, the whole gimmick for this was, and they had them at like indoor soccer places and ice rinks and all kinds of places. But the thing that was great about Otis Spunkmeyer cookies is that if you were a place that sold these cookies, you didn't just get the cookies to sell, right? No. You got a little Otis Spunkmeyer oven and you got the cookie dough. And so they came like proportioned out. So you just had to take these little like balls of, chocolate or, chocolate chip, or there were like 3 or 4 varieties. It was like an almond one. You just took the dough and threw them on this basically like a pizza tray, stuck them in this oven. And like in 10 minutes, you would have fresh baked cookies. And these suckers were big and thick and tasted so good. Again, it's a wonder I didn't weigh 7,000 pounds when I worked at the skating rink, because the thing was, we'd make them for the public skating sessions and we'd sell them like, boom, they'd be gone by the end of the session. But after the place was closed, if there were 4 or 5 of us just hanging out that worked there, we'd just grab, either we'd eat the dough or we'd just make a whole nother round of cookies there as we're playing roller hockey and the place isn't even open. We're just hanging out, shooting around, doing a stick and puck. Yeah, we just tore these things up. Otis Spunkmeyer cookies. If you've never had one, look them up. They were so good. Another snack that takes me back, Cookie Crisp cereal. Saturday morning cartoons. You would just get your bowl of Cookie Crisp. Again, I love cookies. Cookie Crisp was just a way that kids could get away with having cookies for breakfast. It was very efficient because instead of having cookies and milk, you just poured your milk on top of the little mini chocolate chip cookies. And you would see, it also with Saturday morning cartoons in the 80s, if you remember, every commercial was for a snazzy cereal, right? Some kind of sweet cereal, had an awesome prize in the box, and Cookie Crisp for me was where it was at. All right, got to get through these last few here. Moon pies. You know what a moon pie is? It's like a cake. It's got marshmallow cream in the middle. So most of them are chocolate. They have vanilla. They have banana moon pies. But the place this takes me to is Space Camp. This was later in my life. This was as I was a teacher, early 2000s, when I went down to Space Camp and spent the summers there teaching teachers about space science. And one of the things that we did for our incoming teachers, because the teachers would come in and they would stay with us for 6 nights. It was a 7-day program, 6 nights. And we all housed at the University of Alabama, Huntsville, which was right across the campus from Space Camp. And so one of the things that we did for our incoming teachers to welcome them to Alabama was every teacher, when they arrived at Space Camp, they had a moon pie on their pillow when they arrived at their room. Now, I do remember that we had to go do moon pie runs as staff because we had to keep stocking up on these every week. So I remember running to Walmart and buying just, 100 moon pies at a time. I really hadn't even had a moon pie until I went to Space Camp. They're pretty good. I'm not a big marshmallow guy, but they're pretty good. So anytime I see a moon pie, like at a checkout aisle or at a gas station, bam, it reminds me of Alabama. It reminds me of Space Camp. All right, a few more pepper bellies. You don't get these very often. It's a bowl of, on the bottom, Fritos chips covered with chili and then covered with cheese. And this was a pepper belly. This was the snack that you had after your baseball games growing up at Wee Hop baseball fields. Before high school, like before middle school, you would play a ball game, and after the ball game, you'd go buy some candy. But if you needed dinner was always a pepper belly. So Fritos, chili, and cheese reminds me of growing up at the ball fields. All right, the next thing, I don't know if you had this ever. They don't sell it anymore, but it was called Gator Gum. It was made by Gatorade, and it came in metallic green wrappers. The individual pieces of this gum, this Gator Gum, were in silver wrappers, and it was a little bitter. It was made by Gatorade. It was a lemon lime Gatorade flavor, and it was so good. I love this stuff. But it was kind of like it bit at you, like the first couple chews, it would kind of bite at your back of your jaw there. It almost make you lock up. Then it was okay. It was intense. But the thing I remember about Gator Gum is that I chewed this when I pitched in high school. So I pitched in high school all 4 years, got to pitch for varsity parts of all 4 of those years, depending on when they needed extra pitchers. But the thing I did, and I had you guys know, I run every morning, right? I'm a creature of habit. I do the podcast. I don't miss them. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there's a show. I'm definitely a creature of habit. So when I pitched, my grandma would always get me 2 or 3 packs of Gator Gum, or I would just get it at a place called Johnny Mac's or Gaffney's. Those were our 2 sporting goods stores in Florissant. And I always chewed 1 piece of Gator Gum every inning that I pitched. And when I got the third out, if the center fielder caught it or I struck a guy out or what have you, as soon as I recorded the third out, I spit that piece of gum out right there on the mound. So if it was a good game and I made it, into the 5th, 6th, 7th inning, there were a few different little pieces of Gator Gum floating around there on the mound. That's how you knew. If there's a lot of Gator Gum, I had a good game. If I got rocked and got taken out in the 2nd inning, not too much Gator Gum around the mound. But I would still chew it even on the bench because I was the DH for the other pitchers. So I would chew it every inning, get rid of it, chew it, because really the Gator Gum didn't last very long. So about an inning was all you got out of it. I got 3 more. Then we're going to get out of here, and I got to hear what you guys have to say. Bomb Pops. So these came from the ice cream man. Ding, 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 ding. He'd come around in the white van, whole menu on the one side, had the little school bus arm on the side so kids didn't get hit. It's a miracle we didn't get hit because we ran out. We'd chase that ice cream man for miles around our neighborhood because we'd be like, oh, I hear it. Where is it? Okay, so we get on our bikes. We try to find, oh, no, it's over there. It's over there. We'd probably ride 10 miles before we actually, our echolocation wasn't great back in the day. But back to bomb pops. Those are the red, white, and blue. Just basic, what are they? Not icicles, but just the freezy pops. And so we would get those, and that was just summer. I just put in the notes, summer days that lasted forever. You get a bomb pop. Didn't matter if you're playing ball, wiffle ball, frisbee. You would run around with your bomb pop till that thing was all over you. Your face would be red and your hands would be all sticky from it. But God, there was nothing better when you're like 8 or 9 than a bomb pop just run around in the summer. Okay, 2 more, and these are kind of related to each other. The first one is what was called the Mr. Misty. I don't know if you ever had one of these. You remember these? These were sold at Dairy Queen, and they were basically like a slush, as I recall. In the place this takes me back is we had a Dairy Queen that was right near a bowling alley. Both of them are long gone. But okay, my dad, when I grew up, he always bowled in bowling leagues. And so on Saturday afternoons, if nothing was going on, we'd go to this real cheap bowling alley that was actually in a strip mall. And you could go in the top, like on the main level of the strip mall, or you could go around to the back, which was a little bit below. You could go in, only had about 6 or 8 lanes, had a little lounge. Of course, every bowling alley had to have a lounge back in the 80s. And all I remember was like we would bowl, and every Saturday while we were there, Wide World of Sports was on. And I still, to this day, God, I miss that show. I know we have 7,000 channels of sports now, but there was something special about watching Wide World of Sports, that introduction music, seeing crazy sports from like Europe. You'd see bicycle racing or weightlifting or all kinds of crazy, in the wintertime, all the skiing. But the agony of defeat, right? But yeah, we would go to the bowling alley, bowl a little bit, and then on the way home, we'd swing by that Dairy Queen, and I would typically get a Mr. Misty there for a little bit. The last one I'm going to mention before I lose my voice here is slush puppies. Kind of the same thing. It's a slushy drink, kind of an icy type drink. And they had the cool cups, though. I remember the cup had like this cool kind of Eskimo looking dog guy, as I recall. I had a stocking cap on, leaning up against the cup. In the place I got the slush puppies was at Bangert Pool. So when we went up to the local little neighborhood swimming pool, you would swim. Then it would be time for lunch. You'd get a pretzel or a hot dog. They didn't have a whole lot, maybe nachos. But the one thing that was always the treat to get at the pool in the summer was a slush puppy. And you had 2 big decisions. Are you going to get the red one or the blue one? I always got the red one. And again, that thing would be all over your face, your lips, your red, you're all around your mouth would be bright red for the rest of the day. But you didn't care. You were a kid, you had a slush puppy, and life was good. All right. So that's going to do it for my snacks that take you back. But now I want to hear what yours are. This is what I love about our community. I really do. I want to hear, because I love this stuff. I love retro type things. I want to hear about your snacks. What snack that you see on the shelf or you see in an old movie or an old TV show that you say, oh, God, if I could just have that today, if I could just have that tonight, it would take me, boom, instantly back to this place. What are your snacks that take you back? Again, thank you so much for being a patron of the show. I cannot thank you for that enough. It really means a lot to us, and I hope you're enjoying this extra content. If there's anything else you'd like to hear about or future show ideas, just drop me a line here on Patreon, and I'll definitely make that happen for you. So you all, hope you have a great week, a great Thursday, Friday, and an awesome weekend. I hope you stay safe. Thinking about all of our friends down on the Gulf Coast. I hope Delta does not cause as much damage as they're forecasting. So do stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. See you guys. Thanks for watching on YouTube.